Hi everybody, Mike with Enviroscape LA, and I'm here today to talk to you about something that's really important as we go into our next decade. If you live in Los Angeles, and on an even broader scale, if you live in Southern California, I want to talk about what we as a society need to do in order to leave a legacy of a beautiful world for the next generation and the next and the next. Right now we're at a critical juncture. We've just had the worst drought in the history of California. We're not sure yet. This year we had El Nino. We don't know if it's going to break the drought or not. However, it has taught us one thing these last 5 years. The fact is this: that Southern California is a perpetual, we won't call it a desert, but it's a semi-arid area. Every day, about 1.5 billion gallons of water is pumped into Southern California, and it's been that way for a long time. About half of that water, or a little more, is used outside for landscape purposes. What can we do as a society, because that's what it's going to take? Government can only do so much. What can we do as a society to make a difference? Well, it all starts with one question. What are my environmental values? Now, you know, everybody concentrates on things like their family values and their spiritual values and their values for their health and their wellness. You know, these are amazing things, but without water, nothing else happens. Everything comes to a grinding halt. If you don't have water to drink, if your pets don't have water to drink, your plants don't have water to drink, for a day or two, I mean, you're gonna exhaust and you're gonna break down. Your body breaks down, and then nothing else happens. So water is clearly the most important element that we can think about at this point, this juncture of history. So the question is, what can we do as a society? Well, what we can do, it's fivefold, sixfold. Come up with about 6 things that we can do. Okay, first of all, it rained yesterday, and I want to demonstrate to you this. We're here in Redondo Beach. This is my backyard. About 10 years ago, we built a swimming pool in my backyard. Now, it was America's 4th natural swimming pool. It used plants as a filtration. It's absolutely gorgeous. I have pictures of it on Facebook and on the internet of how you could have a natural swimming pool, no chemicals. It didn't have the electrical bills because it wasn't heated, but it's warm enough here in Southern California that really didn't need to be heated. The point is that try to do things of a more sustainable nature. I sensed, because my business, landscape construction, is based on around water. You know, plants don't get water, they don't live, so there's no landscaping if there's no water. So I really keep my finger in the pulse. Years ago, I sensed that since Southern California, especially Los Angeles, is a semi-arid desert, so to speak, that there isn't a lot of water. Did the research and found out how much water was being pumped into Southern California, to the tune of about 20% of all our electricity that's produced in California is used to power the pumps that bring water to our faucets. And I thought, we got to really rethink this. So we needed to. So I decided to set the example and fill my pool in with tanks that would save rainwater when it rains. And then at a future time, when it got warm and it really needed it, in summer, for example, that water would be accessible to my outdoors. So the water I save doesn't cover my landscape totally for the year, but it covers a good percentage of it. It covers most of it, about 9 months out of the year. So what is rainwater harvesting? This is the first thing I'm going to talk about. Well, rainwater harvesting is, I mentioned to you that I had a pool. So when you have a pool is a body of water that actually it's water, but there's a waterproof membrane. So I actually had the waterproof membrane in place. What I did was I installed EcoRay Boxes. The EcoRay Boxes look a little like this. Or they call them tanks, but they're basically their structure to hold. You can actually stand on this. You can actually drive a car on this. It's a plastic material, and they stack on each other. I made a YouTube video years ago when we did this. You can find it online under Rainwater Harvesting Los Angeles, and then we put 12 inches of soil on top of that. Then we built a patio on top of this, and so if you look over here, we actually have solid concrete, and the pool started right here. So we decided, I was originally going to put the concrete with flagstone in here into the where the pool area was, and then I decided, I'm going to do something that's going to be more environmentally friendly. I'm going to do permeable paving. So I put the pavers, and then I put this permeable paving instead of concrete. If I put the hose on this, the water actually goes right through that, and it goes into the tanks. So, so permeable paving, number one, is what we need to get into as a society. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. What I do want to mention to you, though, is that I'll give you an example of what I did. The roof is where rainwater falls. And so, on average, if you have a 1,000 square foot roof, if you get a 1-inch rain event, that will amount, if you can collect that rainwater that falls on your roof, it will amount to about 625 gallons of water, of free water. You don't have to pay for it. So in this case, it falls on the roof, it goes down the pipe, goes through here, and then I save it in this is actually a rain barrel. Actually, this right here, that's rainwater. So this gets filled up, but this fills up with more than 50 gallons of water from the garage roof. And then it falls down, and then it overflows into this bigger area, which was the swimming pool. So this is called rainwater harvesting, because I'm harvesting the rainwater, and then I'm going to reuse this rainwater for irrigation purposes. We just had our first series of events for El Nino. Now last week this was completely empty. This is a service tunnel, so it actually goes down about 6 feet. It's got about 2 feet to go. So we had from the roof on the garage, and then let's check out the roof on the house. Big roof, front and backyards. Check out the pipe over here. You can see the brown pipe. Okay, that actually goes from the house, goes over the wall, and it comes down here into this little contraption here, and that's called a first flush. And then it goes into the drain, and that drain actually has a filter in it, and then the filter is actually cleaning out sediment, debris, and then it goes into the tank that used to be a swimming pool. And then the question that comes out is, how do you use the rain that has been harvested? Well, I want to introduce you to, we put a rainbird valve here, and where the service area is, we actually installed a autofill, and we actually installed a pipe this pump right here is actually able to suck the water out of the service area, and it throws it into a drip irrigation filter, and then it goes into drip irrigation to California-friendly plants. California-friendly plants will save you a ton of water because they're usually plants that are indigenous to the area, or areas like our area in arid conditions throughout the world. So the valves are able to shut off. Now there's a little bit of technical. I won't get super technical. We're going to make another YouTube video on the super technical, but this is for homeowners. There is a valve right here. This is a shut off. We actually installed this for a shut off. When that thing runs dry, when our rainwater harvesting, all 5,500 gallons runs dry, I turn this switch and then it goes on to city water. So for about 3 months of the year, we'll go on to city water. Other than that, we're using rainwater. So it's a fabulous thing. Now, if I didn't have the membrane already, there's a cost to it. There's always a cost to everything. If I didn't have the membrane for the swimming pool, I might have thought about recharging for groundwater. I might have thought of using the rain, so when the rain comes down. Think about this. If you live in Southern California, you live by the beach. I live in Redondo Beach. There's Manhattan Beach, Hermosa Beach. There's Santa Monica. There's this gigantic bay. Well, what happens is every time it rains, the rain picks up. You can hear an airplane. There's jet fuel that land, little tiny particles that land on your roof. There's pollution. There's debris. There's fecal matter if you have animals. I've got chickens back there. I've got dogs. There's just a whole motor oil, brake dust. I mean, there's all kinds of things. All this is collected, goes up to your roof, it lands on the street, and so when it rains, that rain actually pulls water. The water actually collects all that, goes into a storm drain, and it doesn't go into another planet. It goes into our bay, so it kills our ocean. It's literally the rain is killing our ocean, or the mismanagement of rain. As a society, we've done probably too good of a job of paving, and so every time the rain hits, normally in nature, rain would hit and it would sink back into the ground for groundwater recharge. It doesn't do that anymore. It actually hits the ground and then it goes out to the ocean. So it's polluting our ocean, it's killing our ocean. So what we need to do is we need to find ways that we can actually keep the rainwater on site. The city of Los Angeles is doing a great job of this. They have created, well, I should say restored wetlands. Wetlands are nothing more than big aquifers. What that means is there's microbes that when rain falls and it gets polluted, these microbes actually eat up the bad stuff and it purifies the water. So it's a great, fabulous thing to have. We can do the same thing. We can have groundwater recharge in our own house. For example, we just did a project where we actually added those EcoRay Boxes to there was going to be a new driveway, so the homeowner explained that, hey, if you want to do your part for the environment, why not put these EcoRay Boxes under the driveway before you put the new one down? And we actually did a YouTube video, actually during El Nino, actually went out there and filmed it, and it actually showed how all the water was coming down off the roof and it funneled under the driveway, and the driveway was instead, there's no membrane, so they're not harvesting the rainwater, but they're actually providing for groundwater recharge, and it seeps back into the aquifers underneath us. Believe it or not, Los Angeles actually pumps out about a third of its water from aquifers that are under the San Fernando Valley. Those aquifers, though, if they're not recharged with groundwater, and we keep sending water out to the ocean instead of recharging it, it's going to continue to go down and down and down. A generation or two from now, it's not going to be much water left. So we need to start now to provide for groundwater recharge. Now, another thing we can do also is gray water. Now, you're not going to do a whole lot with gray water, but if it's free water, so to speak, you can use it twice. And so what gray water is where you pop a pipe, from your washing machine, for example, or your bathtub, and it goes out into fruit trees, and it's underground, and typically you don't store it, but it just goes underground. That's for another YouTube video. We've done quite a few, but basically gray water is a good thing. Also, something that we don't typically do on a big scale, but water recycling, and that's where you have water that's wastewater. There's hundreds of millions of gallons actually of water, wastewater, that you flush a toilet, or you have bath water, and it goes down the drain. Where does that go? Well, it goes to a treatment plant if you live in our part of Los Angeles, it's a West Basin treatment plant, or Hyperion, the West Basin water treatment plant in El Segundo. And they actually treat millions of gallons of water, and they get most of the bad stuff out of there, and then they send that water into purple pipe into water green belts and parks and schools, you know, for the landscape part section of it. So it's a great idea. Can we do something like that? Can we recycle water on a small scale in our homes? Well, yeah, not only can we recycle it and use it over and over again, and I'm not talking like gray water where you use it once to wash your clothes and then another time to water your plants, but I'm talking we can use it hundreds of times over. Let me introduce you to you, and it gets one last thing. It gets even better. You can grow your own food. Check this out. This is called Aeroponic Growing, and it's a great little system. It has a pump inside, and the pump reuses water, the same water, over and over and over again. Check out how beautiful this lettuce is. Oh my goodness. It's organic, it's non-GMO, it's no pesticides, no herbicides. I'm going to eat this stuff. I mean, this stuff is great. I've actually got a micro farm back there. All that stuff you see back there, it's all recycling and reusing the same water over and over and over again. If you have a koi pond, or if you have a fish pond, I actually have a pump that's actually using this fish water, and it's pushing it into systems that, because fish create liquid compost, and it's actually creating water, how would we say this, aquaponic systems, taking fish water and feeding it to plants and then sending it back to the fish again. So the plants, in this case food, it uses the nutrients, which cleans the water, and then sends it back, minus nutrients, back to the fish. Fish like that, they have fresh water. So the bottom line is you can grow food and recycle water at the same time. It doesn't get any better than that. Also, too, people have mentioned desalinization plants. I want to just make a quick notation. Of all the things that I told you about, desal is probably the thing we want, the thing we need the least. San Diego just built a desalinization plant. Fabulous. Only problem is the electricity cost. It's about 2 to 3 times more expensive, the water that comes out of that, because of the super high electricity cost. Folks, we need to start getting into more sustainable solutions, not stuff that's going to depend on motor oil and electricity. So the things we're talking about are things that we can do here at home without having looking to government to provide for all our needs. Okay, and then number 6, what I wanted to make mention of is that we can actually do California-friendly plants. California-friendly plants, check this out. And look at the beautiful flowers on that. It's flowers 12 months out of the year, 365 days out of the year. This is a euphorbia. It's a California-friendly plant. These right here, these are the Senecios. We got the Aeoniums. All these things here are, check this out, a succulent that actually has flowers. Check out those flowers. Check out that gigantic flower there. Aren't those beautiful? Just amazing. So, the use of California-friendly plants. I've talked about it for a long, long time. You don't have to have prickly cactus. I would encourage you to plant prickly cactus, unless you like to, but I like to have people over. They have children. I don't want kids getting dinged with prickly cactus, so I'd stay away from that if you have kids. Also, too, I want to make note that these are the things that are necessary for us to save water. So, groundwater recharge, rainwater harvesting, California-friendly plants, recycling our own water with aeroponics, aquaponics. These are the things that we need to do. Folks, let's start now. We're continuing. We've made over 1,200 YouTube videos on this type of stuff, but I just wanted to give an overview of what we can do. And Does it mean that we have to live in a desert? Because we live in almost a desert, does it mean that we have to look like a desert? No. But the things that I just mentioned are really, really important for us. Ways that we can contribute to make a difference for the next generation and beyond. This is Mike from Enviroscape LA signing off. When you think sustainability, think Enviroscape LA.